let's look at us spending some time with the Ghana Revenue Authority today, because we're here to talk about tax returns and what punitive measures could be taken against you and I if we fail to file our tax returns. You're an enterprise, you're a corporate institution, you're an individual, you need to file tax returns. So I have some big people from the Ghana Revenue Authority here with me. I have Chief Revenue Officer Martin Yamboreja. I hope I pronounced it right. Good morning to you.
Thank you.
All right, and thanks for joining me, Martin. Also joining me is Wisdom Hato, is a Chief Revenue Officer.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining me.
Yeah, thank you, Roland.
Yeah, if you're a revenue officer, what does Chief Revenue means? It's a rank.
Yeah,
it's a position. It's a rank. Yeah, that's the beginning of management staff of us.
Wow, so almost staff. Like a brigadier in your.
That's correct. It's a big post.
Yes, it is a big post. But what here is because it's we want to educate people, and I've seen a lot of activation these days by the Ghana Revenue Authority, both in the mainstream media, that's using the print, TV, radio, and also using a lot more social media to do the communication. But so let's start by asking, what is a tax return in the first place?
Okay, thank you very much, and then thank you to good morning to your viewers. A tax return basically is an official statement of a person's activities of income that he files with the Ghana Revenue Authority. When you are earning income, you are supposed to give information to Ghana Revenue Authority about the income that you earn. So the return is just simply telling Ghana Revenue Authority that this is the kind of activity that I'm doing, and this is the income that I'm earning, and this is the tax that I'm supposed to pay.
I see.
Yeah.
And do we have various types of tax returns? If we have, what are they?
Yeah, we have different types of tax returns. We have a tax return that relates to PAYE. That's pay as you earn. A tax return that relates to a CIT, that's corporate income tax, withholding tax return. We have a VAT tax return. We have a CST, that's the communication service tax return, and a host of them. Yeah, so we have various kinds.
So as it means that all individuals, corporate institutions are all involved.
Yeah,
so so what about those who do informal work?
Yeah, informal work. Yeah, it depends.
Let's say, do you know those who do pongpo?
Well,
you know wala to wala, sir.
Yes, wala to wala. Yes, everybody who earns income is supposed to file. For such people, if they are not registered entities, then they are supposed to file what we call personal income tax. Everybody who earns income in Ghana is supposed to file a return. So the individuals file what we call personal income tax.
I see.
The companies file what we call company income tax. And then we also have partnership income tax. And then we have a trust who also file.
I see.
And then apart from that, we have other monthly or quarterly or annual return depending on the tax type. So like Wisdom have said, personal income tax and then corporate income tax are supposed to be filed on an annual basis, that is yearly. But we have other monthly returns such as the VAT, that one is filed on a monthly basis. We have withholding returns, where when somebody does business and then you are paying, you are supposed to deduct a certain amount and pay to Ghana Revenue Authority. That is also filed on a monthly basis. Excise duties, communication service tax, they are all filed on a monthly basis. Then those in the petroleum industry, they file what we call quarterly returns on their activities. So everybody who earns income file at least a return, even including employees. Employees, your employer file the return on your behalf on a monthly basis. But at the end of the year, you are expected to also file your return and declare whatever income that you are earning. It is possible that apart from the income that you are earning from your employment, you may be doing other businesses. So you are expected to add whatever income you have earned from those businesses to your employment income and tell GRA that, okay, this is the income that I've earned for the year. And that then gives GRA the opportunity to give you an accurate assessment of how much tax you are actually supposed to pay.
But as a person, why should I file my tax returns? There should be a reason why.
Yeah, filing a tax return is a statutory requirement that every Ghanaian is supposed to comply with. It has some advantages. You know, filing your tax return enables you to be able to even claim a capital allowance, also to receive refund, you know, and also tax clearance certificate is very important. For instance, if you want to clear your goods from the port, you need a tax clearance certificate. So if you haven't filed your tax return, it becomes very difficult for you to obtain tax clearance certificate to clear your goods from the port. Yeah, so it is very important that you file your tax returns at the required dates.
And what do they specify usually if you want to?
Every tax return will normally have at least the personal details of the person, or if it's a company, the personal details of the person. But what is important for us is the chargeable income. And by the chargeable income, we are looking at your income that is subject to tax, and then the tax that you are supposed to pay. And then if you have already made payment, how much payment have you made? And then whatever balance that left to be paid. In a situation where you probably would have overpaid, then you tell us, okay, this is amount of overpaid, and that enables you to get a refund.
Okay.
Yeah, so in addition to that, with respect to VAT return, for instance, you are expected to declare your taxable values of sales that you have made. Then also the tax that is on it. That is
if you are an enterprise or
enterprise or a corporate or company
or an individual. Yeah, if you do just normal retail sales.
That's right. You are supposed to declare that. Even if you are engaged in exempt transactions or good sales, you still have to declare that. Relief items or whatever, you have to declare that. Then also the input VAT that you have incurred by transacted business, you are supposed to declare those as well.
I see. But at the end of the day, there should be a time when I am supposed to file my returns.
Okay.
Is it at the end of the month or when I earn a certain income on something, at which point of the year?
Yeah, it depends on the type of income. So like I said earlier, we have monthly returns, we have quarterly returns, and we have annual returns. So we have VAT is a monthly return. Communication service tax is a monthly return. Pay as you earn is a monthly return. Withholding taxes are monthly returns. So VAT, you are supposed to file the return not later than the last working day of the following month. So whatever activities that take place in this particular month, you are expected to file the return of that month by the last working day of the next month following. Same for communication service tax. And then when it comes to excise duty, the return is supposed to be filed on the 21st 21 days after the end of the month. Now, withholding taxes must be filed, that withholding of goods and services, and pay as you earn, not later than 15th of the month following. But when it comes to income tax, either personal income tax or corporate income tax, the law requires that you file it not later than 4 months after the end of the year. Or in a situation where you are a company or an entity, and then your accounting period doesn't fall within 1st January to 31st December, then 4 months after the end of your accounting period.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. But when are you supposed to file it then? Let's say if you're supposed to file on a weekend and or a holiday and it doesn't, or do you have specific days? That's all?
Yeah, if you are supposed to, or the date for which you're supposed to pay, or falls within on a holiday, on a weekend or a holiday,
or a non-working day.
Non-working day, then you are supposed to file before the Friday before that weekend.
And if I'm not able to,
well, then you'll be, falling foul of the law.
Well, I know, but
there are penalties imposed. For example, all other returns, when you don't file, for not filing, there is a spot penalty of 500 Ghana cedis, and for each day that the default continues, you are supposed to pay 10 Ghana cedis. Now, when it comes to communication service tax, that one, the penalty is quite hefty. You pay 2,000 Ghana cedis as a spot fine, and then every day that you default, you pay 500 Ghana cedis. I mean, the aim of a penalty is to deter people from deliberately saying that, well,
and these are the sanctions.
These are the sanctions.
But the thing is that you want people to comply with the law.
Yeah.
Once you want them to comply specifically with what the terms of the law are, and of course there are sanctions thereof in cases of failure, you still want people to conform. So if you want them to conform, why do you make the sanctions so punitive?
Well, I think the sanctions are to deter non-compliance. You know, we'll do everything to encourage voluntary compliance. In fact, that's the ultimate objective, to encourage voluntary compliance. But you agree with me that there will always be a black sheep in every family.
Yeah.
So some people will deliberately not comply.
You mean not comply on time, to file on time?
To file on time.
Yes.
Or some even refuse to file at all. So if it comes to such people, the law is supposed to compel them. For instance, as you said, in case of filing of returns, even after the penalty is imposed and the person fails to comply, 4 months after the penalty has been completed, the Commissioner General may elect to prosecute that person. So you want to encourage voluntary compliance, but at the same time, we don't want to people to just flout the law because we want to.
Okay. And just to add something to what Wisdom has said, we have penalty for failing to file. But then when you are filing your return, you are also expected to pay the tax due. So if you fail to pay the tax due, apart from the penalty that you are paying, you are also supposed to pay interest at the rate of 125% of the Bank of Ghana discount rate, compounded monthly. That is for the tax itself. But the return, which is at the paper or a statutory requirement, then that is what you will pay on a daily basis. So, I mean, it is not just advisable for somebody not to comply, because you end up incurring unnecessary costs which could have been avoided.
I see. But do you sometimes have to deal with case by case, deal with companies or individuals on case by case basis? Perhaps they may have a better reason for not complying on time than usual. And so
okay, Wisdom can take that.
Okay. If for any reason you cannot file return on the statutory stipulated time, then you may have to apply to the Commissioner General, stating reasons why you could not do that. Then you may be given an extension as to when you should file your return. It should be in writing, and also you should state the reasons why you could not file on that particular date.
Yeah. So what happens is that if you cannot file, you must write to the Commissioner General before the due date for the filing. You don't wait until when the date has expired. Then you then write and so I couldn't file because you have already failed. But before the due date, you can write to the Commissioner that I may not be able to file my return on so and so because of so and so reason. And the law says that you can have multiple requests granted, but in some, it should not be more than 60 days. That means that you cannot have beyond 60 days of extension.
I see.
And there are conditions attached to this. You should be able to do within that period.
Okay, so would there be situations where I may not be required to file a return at all if I'm operating a business or as an individual?
Yeah, it depends on the tax type involved. For instance, if it's a VAT return, for instance, the law enjoins you to file a new return. If you never transacted any business within that tax accounting period, you are supposed to file anyway, but it should be a nil return. But if it's a direct tax, and you have been done any business, or you have run a nil, no income was received within a period, then the law is not.
And for the purposes of the education, what will be the direct tax then?
Okay, so direct taxes basically are income tax. You know, we have indirect tax like VAT, where even when you are paying, you don't know that you are paying, even though it is included in the sale of goods. But the direct taxes are taxes that come from you, the income earner. So, for example, if you are doing business and you make profit, a part of your profit is supposed to be paid as tax. That is the direct tax. If you are an employee and then you are earning income and you are supposed to, a part of your salary is supposed to be used in paying tax, these are direct taxes. If you earn rent income, you are supposed to pay tax. These are direct taxes. But the indirect taxes are taxes that we pay, but normally the one who's paying doesn't know that you are paying, or you don't see it. It is normally included in the goods, such as VAT, communication service tax, import duty, excise duty. These are indirect tax because it is the person who is selling who will normally collect the tax from you indirectly and go and pay it to government. But with the direct tax, you are the one who has to pay out of your income. Yeah, so the law says that if you do not have any income, or if you have no tax payable, then you'll not be required to file a return. But other than that, everybody must file a return.
And these returns are signed?
Yeah, they are supposed to be signed by a responsible manager or official of
so like
the
a
company.
finance person or the managing director?
Yeah, anyone who is responsible. Because these could be legal documents that could be tendered in court of competent jurisdiction. So we want to hold people accountable for their declaration. You know, the law enjoins you to sign it because it must be accurate. You are declaring that whatever you are declaring is accurate and truthful. So if it turns out that you're just doing something which is not truthful, then you may have to account for that. So we require that the manager or a company or a responsible officer of the company signs these declarations.
I see. Yeah, we have a lot of okay, so here, if not that, so okay, so that'll be it this morning. Thanks for passing through.
Thank you.
I've had in the studio Chief Revenue Officers, big men from the Ghana Revenue Authority, helping us undertake some education this morning. Martin Ayamboriga is Chief Revenue Officer with the Ghana Revenue Authority. He was in the studio with, or has been in the studio with Wisdom Heto, who is also a Chief Revenue Officer for the Ghana Revenue Authority. Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you very much.
And I hope to stay in touch.
Yeah,
I think myself, I'm a defaulting person. So we'll see how we'll go and deal with that after here. But we have to take a break.